Bros, Ash here, welcome back to Gents. You thought 2025 was gonna end without a twist?
Wrong.
Dolce Gabbana came and hit us with this right at the end of the year, the one eau de parfum. You might be like, wait, isn't there already the one eau de parfum? yeah, there is. But this is the 2025 iteration. That is becoming super common nowadays. You know, Acqua di Gio, Armani Code, Dior Homme. There's so many different fragrances out there now that have the same name as what they used to be, but they've been changed or modernized. So this one right here is available at Macy's, and the original one is available at basically all your discounters out there. I'll have both of these linked in the description. Let's go ahead and take a look at the presentation of this new one, and then I'll let you know how close or how different it is from the OG and what you need to do about it. Nothing. Yeah, I mean, you can't really do anything about it, actually. Blah. First, le box. So mine came with a nice little slip cover on the front. It has a guy with a tie and a dress shirt. It says newly updated packaging and an enhanced fragrance. You have on there the name of the house, size and concentration. On one side, it says up to 16-hour wear. 97% agree it leaves a long-lasting trail. And you have an asterisk for the 16-hour wear that says clinical test. And then underneath that, 2 asterisks for the 97% agree, which says self-evaluation test, which tells us so much with so little. It's basically Dolce & Gabbana telling everybody out there, yes, we did hear you over the years when you said that the one eau de parfum is not that strong. It also says, yes, we are completely aware that lots of the fragrances coming out nowadays are hyper powered. So we're trying to like appeal to you guys and say, hey, look, we made it stronger, please buy. But I do like the self-evaluation test, because for sure that means they had people either in like a focus group or just going out in general and spraying people and being like, this is our new fragrance. Do you agree it has a long-lasting trail? You better effing say yes.
You know why I'm here. You know why I'm here.
Because to get 97% of the people to agree on a self-evaluation test, that's a lot of people to agree. On the back it says newly elevated packaging. You have a few notes right there. You have your ingredient information as well. Then we have the box itself, not too much going on. You have on the front, once again, name of the house, name of the fragrance, size and concentration, DG up top, nothing on the sides of the box. The back of the box looks the same as the back of the slipcover. And then on the bottom, you've got your badge code and your barcode. My badge code is 020403. And here we have that newly enhanced bottle. Looks really similar to the original. Obviously the color scheme for the eau de parfum has changed. It falls more in line with the eau de toilette as far as how it comes across. Only it doesn't have this brushed metal look to the cap like the eau de toilette, and also obviously the color is darker as well. But obviously looks quite different from how the eau de parfum used to look. So at least you'll be able to easily tell these apart when you have the bottle in your hand as to which one is which. The bottle also feels slightly more squared off rather than rounded off on the edges, but that's not a really big difference between the two. On the front, you have the name of the fragrance, name of the house. As I said before, it has kind of a deeper coloration to the fragrance itself. The cap has decent heft to it. It does click into place. On the bottom, you have a sticker with your badge code. And you will also find this very small little piece of paper inside of the box. And it says, thank you for choosing Dolce & Gabbana, the one for men. With a newly updated packaging, the iconic fragrance has been enhanced for an even more captivating and long-lasting olfactive experience. Which I think is kind of a nice touch. It really does feel, from little things like this and the little changes and tweaks that they've made, that Dolce & Gabbana is trying to appeal to people more. They're like, please give us another chance, because they've not really been hitting it with a few of their releases over the past few years. At least that's how it comes across to me. Let's go ahead and do a couple sprays here. The atomizer has changed, so here we go. Really nice. And we'll compare that to the original eau de parfum here. Yeah. So the new one has more of that pressurized feel to it. It feels more premium. Now again, I'll have this linked in the description along with the original. The original one you're gonna be looking at discounters, and this new one, $145 is what I paid from Macy's for 100 ml size. They do have a 50 ml also. And you know the drill, guys. If you're shopping at discounters, use the discounter codes. Here they are. Just a bunch of them there. You can jot them down, use them whenever you shop at any of those stores, and save yourself a little extra cash. All right, the one eau de parfum 2025. A lot of people were expecting this to basically just be this, but stronger, because that is kind kind of what they're alluding to. You know, they are and they aren't saying that. They're calling it an enhanced fragrance. So you're kind of thinking, well, it's gonna smell the same, just project more and last longer. And we can get this out of the way right off the bat. That's not what's going on. If you were hoping for the exact same scent profile, just taken and pumped up, you're gonna be disappointed, because this thing is more a reimagining. We'll call it that. And I guess that would be the more realistic expectation anyway, because nowadays, you know, again, going back to like the new Aqua de Jo's and stuff like that, that's really what's been happening, right? They take the fragrance, they change the presentation a little bit as far as how it looks, and they also change how it comes across. They're basically trying to modernize it. Same thing going on here. Now, first things first, if you spray this on and you don't have the original to compare side by side, maybe you don't own it anymore, maybe it's been a long time since you smelled it, then you probably will be like, oh yeah, it reminds me of that. It smells similar to that, and it kind of does, but when you do a side-by-side, it becomes really apparent that they're different things. So this new one, it opens up fresher right away. It also has more of a brightness to it. That's gonna be partially because of that citrus that's in there, the blood orange, the Tarocco orange that you get here in the new version. It has more of a sweet aspect to it, so you're gonna get more of that fruity sort of sweetness initially with this one, whereas the original Eau de Parfum, this one opens up warmer, cozier. It has that dry, lightly dusty warmth that you get from coriander and ginger melding together. So it's swapping out that more laid back, cozy, warm type of sweetness from the original with the more energetic, lively opening in the new version. Because the way that orange hits you in this new one has a little bit of an edge, like a slight sparkle to it. And then about 5 minutes in, the new version starts to get a little bit of like an aromatic undertone, and it acts as a bridge. So it takes you from that, you know, zesty, fruity, slightly sugary opening and starts to transition it more into a woody base. So it has in the opening more of an airiness to it. And when you compare that side by side, the original one feels more like a blanket. You know, it's got like this warm, spicy, ambery kind of vibe. And this new version doesn't try to lean as far in that direction. When you smell them side by side, it becomes really apparent. And one word of warning, especially in the opening and the early part of the mid with this new version, if you try to go in for multiple whiffs, you know, you're really trying to like take it in, you'll go nose blind to it pretty quick. So it can be one of those fragrances where you can trick yourself into thinking, it's not really there, it's not that strong, because you go nose blind to it and you'll get hit by a big whiff. That doesn't happen as much with the original, but it happens a little bit more with this one. And as these two fragrances head into the mid, they do keep their own lanes. The sugary citrus kind of brightness from the opening in the new version, that fades away pretty quickly. And you would expect that it would start to lean heavier, more amber, more of a resinous kind of feel. It really doesn't though. You know, it doesn't have that spicy, almost like baked goods kind of scent profile that the original carries through the mid. It doesn't lean that direction. Instead, it has this fresh spiciness over top of woods, and if you get a very big breath, you'll get this amazing smelling sweetness, but it's almost like a floral tinged sweetness along the edges of the scent. In comparison, you smell this one and it just smells rich, it smells spicy, it smells deep, it smells like it was tailor-made for late fall and winter and for date nights. This one here, especially through the mid, feels like it's trying to lean more versatile. So it's trying to be more of like an anytime fragrance across multiple seasons instead of trying to be like just for one season or one particular time. And as you head into the dry down with the original, you get that pipe tobacco, that amber, you get those spices all mingling and working together. It smells sexy, it smells dense, but without big time performance. So when you smell the original Eau de Parfum, you know, it feels like it's got some heft to it, even if it's not really projecting all that much. Whereas the new version smells significantly more woodsy. So I'm wearing both of these right now, this one here. And look, I'm not saying you don't get any woodiness in the original one, you do. It's just, it's more prominent here in the new one. And the ambery support is not as rich in the new version. It's again, trying to be a little more versatile. And it even has an almost slightly leathery scent profile at times once you hit that far dry down. Not animalic, not dirty, nothing like that. It's just like some of the remnants of the clary sage in here in the new version, they kind of dry down, and the way they mix together with the woods in there, it gives it a little bit of a leathery tone. But the biggest elephant in the room is the tobacco, because that's what the original, the one Eau de Parfum, is probably most well known for. And you do get some tobacco in this new version, but it's not the same type of rich pipe tobacco that people have come to expect from the OG. That tobacco mixing with amber, mixing with cardamom, mixing with ginger, that kind of vibe that you get here. Instead, the tobacco is reined in a little bit, the woods are pushed up. And one of the main reasons why is probably the tonka. That tonka really helps flesh out the whole tobacco note, right? It gives you more of this almost humid, dense, sweet tobacco leaf. And you get a little more of that tonka sort of vibe underneath everything here in the original Eau de Parfum, even though I don't think it was officially a note. You can still pick that up, that aspect. Here in this new version, not so much. So instead you get something that is a little bit more wood forward, and it does have a nice sweetness to it, but it's like this silky sort of sweetness that, like I said, is along the edges of the scent. It's not like fully ingrained the same way that it is in the original. Now, to be totally clear here, I'm not saying that because the tobacco is not as ramped up here in this one to me as it is in the original, and because it has more of a woodiness, that it's automatically worse. Because that's the knee-jerk reaction, right? To go like, oh, it's different, therefore it sucks. And I've done that in the past, and I've tried to learn from my ways. Because that's the easiest thing to do, is to just knee jerk it and go, this is different, I hate it. It is different, for sure, but I don't hate it. Now let's talk about seasonality. Like I said before, this one right here, the original, this is like fall, winter evenings in a bottle. Great for the holidays, great for dates. It has a magnetic kind of sexy scent profile to it, where even though it's not super strong as far as projection, people smell it and they just want to get another whiff. It's that type of scent, you know? I've always loved this stuff. And the Eau de Toilette as well. I think this stuff is really good also. I know this one catches even more hate because of the performance and everything, but it smells great. Now, this new version is a little more versatile. Obviously, it'll work during fall, it'll work during winter, day or night, I feel like. Maybe it leans a little bit more toward evening use, but you can much easier pull this one off during the day compared to the original. But I also think this new version would work really well during the spring. Not really summer, but I think spring, fall, winter, you can pull this off. It is slightly more Swiss Army knife-ish, right? It's got a little more built-in versatility to it. And especially off a tester strip, which I don't suggest that you smell just this and then use that to make up your mind, but especially off a strip, you can tell that this one here, the new version, leans fresher than the original one. Now, the other big elephant in the room, the performance. Because obviously, they are really trying to sell that. Up to 16H wear, which is a bold claim. And it does say with an asterisk, clinical test. But I'm not sure what that clinical test is exactly. So I guess we just have to take their word for it, because for all I know, their clinical test is they got the fragrance and they did this. And then they went, okay, it's pretty saturated. Sit down on that table right there. And then they went, yep, we'll come back later. 16 hours go by. Still there. Put it on the box. I'm assuming their test was more in depth than that, but I don't know. Clinical test. Certified. Does it feel like what I consider a 16-hour performance fragrance to be? No. But it does have solid longevity. It'll stick on your skin, you'll be able to pick it up, and side by side, it does last longer for me than the original. So it outperforms the OG. As far as projection goes, it's okay. You know, it's not a monster, it's not filling up the room unless you do what I just did, then it will. This thing is soaked. I don't know if you can see, but it is a noticeable different shade of white. It looks kind of dirty, actually. Nice. So overall, in terms of performance, I would say it does stick, it does last a long time. It has that sort of woody aroma chemical vibe to it where it's gonna stick and it's gonna stay like glue. It's just, it may not be projecting the whole time, right? Which I know that most of you guys are aware of that, but that's kind of what they're trying to get across. They're like 16 hours and you go, oh, it projects for 16 hours? And they go, Yes. So yeah, realistically, it's not going to project 16 hours the whole time or anything like that. But like I said, easily outperforms this one as far as the longevity goes. Projection also better than the original one. Not a beast, but a step forward. So all of this combined, I like how it smells. It's solid, it's versatile, smells great, the quality is pretty good. It doesn't screech, even though it has pretty good performance. So I don't have to worry about like being the cologne guy where you step into the room and you realize you sprayed on too much. You're probably not gonna have that issue, but you are gonna get the solid performance out of it. So it's a win-win. But what sucks is this stuff, even existing, means that this stuff is now going away. And most of you guys know how it is at this point. This is gonna be available for a long time at discounters, I would assume. So you'll be able to find it. It's not like you have to rush out right this second and they're gone forever within a week or something like that. That never is how it turns out. But long term, this is going away. Just like the original Acqua di Gio Profondo has slowly faded away and been replaced by the new one. Just like the original light blue for men is slowly fading away. Same deal is gonna happen to this. This is going away. And I know a lot of people have complained over the years, the performance, yada, 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 but I have always just loved how this stuff smells. And it really is a bummer that this is it. You know what I mean? It's walking the green mile. It is going to be no more. And that always sucks to see. It makes logical business sense because this one does pump up that performance a little bit. It is modernized, so it's going to feel a little bit fresher for a lot of people, both literally and figuratively. And that should help it appeal to a larger crowd. And it does keep, for the most part, that DNA of the original intact. You know, it's not completely different, okay? I know I pointed out all the differences from the opening into the dry down, but it still is the one. When you smell it, you're like, okay, yeah, you can draw the line from here to here. But they did, in making this one, polish away some of the soul of what made the one Eau de Parfum the one Eau de Parfum. So if you want a versatile, polished, modern, spicy, woody fragrance that you can wear 3 seasons out of the year, this stuff is great. But if you want that cozy ginger amber tobacco magic that the original had, I'd probably scoop up a bottle or two at some point in the near future because this stuff is going the way of the dinosaur. So there we go, the one Eau de Parfum. If you haven't smelled this in a while or you don't own that, you can smell this and it will remind you of this. If you spray them on side by side, you'll see the differences between them. And again, I know the knee jerk is this stuff sucks because it's replacing this stuff, but it is a really good fragrance in its own right. And I will have to get another bottle or two of this because this is the only one that I own and it's like half full, so. There we go, guys, the one Eau de Parfum 2025. I want to thank you guys for hanging with me here until the end. Stay safe out there, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.